Hi everybody, hope you're doing well. If you're watching this video, that means you are starting week 3 of Survey of Math here for the 4th marking period. We are going to be starting what would be in quote unquote Unit 5, which has a lot of stuff to do with what's called coordinate geometry. So we're going to be looking at things dealing with slope, y-intercept, point slope form, some basic equation writing, etc. So you notice I've kind of handwritten my own notes here. I've basically taken what I would have done in survey, and I kind of crunched it down to the absolute essentials of what I would say are just important things to review in general as you work through your math classes moving forward. So this video here, this will be section 5.1. This is going to talk through two things. It's going to remind you how to find slope using the slope formula, and the other part of it is that it's going to remind you how to identify parallel versus perpendicular slopes given the slope or having to find a slope in a bunch of different ways. So let's review how to find slope given a couple points. So we've already talked about in another unit here how to find slope if it's on a graph. If you're finding a slope given 2 points, you can see the formula up at the top of the screen. Screen here, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All you have to do is make sure you plug in your coordinates in the correct spot in the formula, solve and simplify as needed. So if you want to try one or two of these here, if you're 99% sure on what you're doing, try one or two, fast forward, see if you got the right answer. If you want to just watch the explanations, again, I'm going to walk through all 4 of these here. Try what you need to, and then move on as needed. So, to find all of these here, each one of these ordered pairs, since you have 2 of them, remember, ordered pairs are in XY order, so I'm going to go ahead and just label all of these here real quick as x1, y1 and x2, y2, just to get that out of the way. Now, let's go ahead and plug these into the formula. So, with my first set of ordered pairs, I have 2, 8 and 4, 12. So, y2 minus y1, 12 minus 8, x2 minus x1, 4 minus 2. Take care of the numerator, that becomes 4. Take care of the denominator, that becomes 2. If it can simplify, you always want to simplify your answers. 4 over 2, just becomes a slope of 2. Second one, same idea. y2 minus y1 would be 8 minus negative 7 over 0 minus 3. 8 minus negative 7 is the same thing as 8 plus 7, so you can write it as I've got it right now, or you can just go ahead and as you write it out, you can change it since it's a double negative, make it into a positive. I don't care which way you do it as long as it's correct math. Either way, 8 minus negative 7, 8 plus 7 gets you 15. 0 minus 3 is negative 3. Don't lose track of negatives. It's the easiest mistake to make. Simplify. 15 over negative 3 is a slope of negative 5. Number 3, same idea. y2 minus y1, negative 17 minus 9 over x2 minus x1, negative 4 minus 1. Top would be negative 26. Bottom would be negative 5. There's nothing you can do with the numbers, but you've got double negatives. If you have a negative over a negative, that means your slope is actually positive. 26 over 5 does not reduce, and that is your final answer. And then last but not least here, the 4th example, y2 minus y1, 8 minus 1 over negative 6 minus negative 6. So I'm just going to write that as negative 6 plus 6. Top becomes 7, bottom becomes 0. If you get a weird one like this where your bottom of your fraction is 0, as you should know by now, you cannot divide by 0. That doesn't work. You cannot split something into 0 groups. If that is the case, you write it as an undefined slope. Do not leave it as 7 over 0. You call it undefined. If you get a slope where the top number is 0, the numerator is 0, then your answer is 0. If the bottom is 0, it is technically undefined because you cannot divide by 0. So that's your quick review there, how to find slope given 2 ordered pairs. Let's talk about slope as it relates to finding parallel versus perpendicular. So, we know by this point, if you have parallel lines, that means they're running the same direction, they don't touch. What that ultimately means is the slope has to be the same. Perpendicular, however, has its own separate meaning. Perpendicular not only crosses the original slope, the original line, but it also means that is doing so at an opposite reciprocal of the original slope. So here's what that means. if I give you a slope like in number 1 of 2/3, so this symbol right here with the double lines, that means parallel, okay? If I say, tell me what's parallel to a slope of 2/3, it's the exact same answer. Every single time. Parallel means same thing. So if my original slope is 2/3, that means my parallel slope is 2/3. Now, if I want to find perpendicular, aka you see this upside down T, that's a symbol for perpendicular. Perpendicular means opposite reciprocal. So what that means is I take whatever the slope is, 2/3. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to flip it and I'm going to change the sign. You have to do both. If you only do one and not the other, that's not correct. That's something else, okay? That's all you have to do to identify the slopes. So again, parallel, it's going to be the same. Perpendicular is opposite reciprocal. Flip them, change the sign. Again, you want to hit the pause button here, try the next couple, see if you get the same answer. Great. If not, follow what I'm doing. Original slope in number 2 is -5/7. So my parallel will be -5/7. Perpendicular means I flip it and change the sign. So if I flip it, it's 7/5. It was originally negative. If I change the sign, that means it's going to be positive. So we're going to leave my perpendicular slope at 7/5. Last here, I have a slope of 10. So parallel slope would also be 10. If I want perpendicular, so if I flip the number 10, remember, 10 is the same as 10/1. I would flip it and make it 1/10, change the sign, so that makes it negative, meaning I have a perpendicular slope of -1/10. We can also identify parallel versus perpendicular, finding slope in a couple different ways. So if I look at the example number 4, I give you two ordered pairs. So what this is just basically, what I basically want you to do here, go find the slope, and then we'll identify the parallel and the perpendicular to it. So, using what we did on the other side, again, y2 minus y1, so 9 minus 5 over x2 minus x1, 7 minus 6, gets me a slope of 4/1, which is 4. Parallel to that would be a slope of 4. Perpendicular, flip and change the sign, -1/4. Again, the reason I bring this up, you'll see that with the IXL, where it may just give you 2 points and say, well, what's parallel or what's perpendicular to it? You have to find the original slope first. So you might have to do it from two ordered pairs, or it might be a problem like number 5 here, where you're given it in slope-intercept form. So what we're going to do here is the same thing. I want to know what the original slope is, and then we can figure out what's parallel and perpendicular. So, again, if I look at this, if it's in slope-intercept form, the slope is directly attached to the x, so this -6/5 is my slope, which means parallel is -6/5. Perpendicular, flip it and change the sign, would be a positive 5/6. So that's your quick review there. Some of the basics with slope, how to find it, and then how to use slope to identify what would be parallel to it and what would be perpendicular to it as well. So, we are continuing with your IXLs. This one here, I am throwing 2 with it, S4 and S25. We're going to again remain in level K for the duration of this new unit. So you can stay on that tab on your IXLs. Again, make sure that you are keeping up with these. If you have done these already in the past for some reason in another algebra class, great, you're in good shape. If you aren't at an 80 yet, I'd suggest try to get it to an 80. So again, you get your full points for that. An easy grade right there. So, if you have any questions about anything or whatever in the video, shoot me an email, send me a Schoology message, or stop by my office hours and I'll be happy to help you. Otherwise, make sure you're doing your IXLs, get caught up, and stay on pace as we go through this unit. If I can help you with anything, let me know. Otherwise, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.